Today's video, I'm giving you a 5-star tier list. This tier list is for free to play or light spenders. Because yes, 6 stars are amazing. And yes, you should be summoning on a 6-star banner for a 6-star unit. But what really makes a free to play account shine early game are gonna be the 5-star units. You're more than likely going to get dupes of 5 stars before you get the 6-star dupes. I did another video about whether you should save or summon on the upcoming banners up to 1.4, but when deciding on what 6-star banner to summon on, you need to know what 5 stars are good and focus on them as well. If you end up liking this video, hit the sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy dingy thing so you know when I post a video. Let's go, baby. Disclaimer of the day. Take tier list with a grain of salt. Every account is different. 6 stars are better. These are my opinions and my opinions alone. My opinions come with many years of gacha experience. You may have different opinions. Play the game how you want. If you use this tier list, this will help you through progression. This will help you not waste resources on a character when there's another character that's better. I don't mind constructive criticism. Please comment below in this video. Your opinions do matter. The more you know. Alright, on to the tier list. This tier list goes all the way up to 1.3 update, which will be in about 6 to 8 weeks, I assume. And here it is. I'm going to give you my explanation on all of these characters really briefly. Alright, in the E tier, the do not build, that is Sweetheart. So really she does damage, she has to build her ultimate up to get the defense down, and she's hard to kill. And there's just other characters that are better. In the D tier, this is ones that I recommend not building. One is Matilda, who you start out in the game. She is a good single target nuke, but she doesn't bring anything to the table. All she brings is damage. There are other star characters that you could build instead. We also have Diggers. I do not recommend the build. This will be a new character in the upcoming banner. Diggers isn't bad, that's not the point. There's another character that can pretty much do the same exact thing, and that is in the A tier, and that's Baby Blue. Yes, they have a little bit of differences here and there, but Baby Blue is just better. If his inheritance procced more than once in a battle, with giving all allies a shield, then I think Diggers would have a chance. C tier, these are units that you can use. It really just depends on if you get more dupes of these compared to like the B tier. But there is reasoning for this, and I know I'm going to get flack on one character here, and that is Charlie. Charlie's like right in the middle of the C and B kind of tier, and he is a very good damage dealer. If his health is above 50%, he does more damage. If it's below 50%, he gets survivability. He just doesn't have any utility. And because we only have like 3 spots on your team, in this current content, I just don't see him higher. I probably will move him up at a later update. He needs like 2 fairy to really push damage. The only utility he has is on his ultimate, but I like characters that bring a lot more to the table. Next on the C tier is Satsuki. Now she is highly situational. I like her because she can petrify an enemy, but again, she doesn't bring much to the table. And being a plant character, I feel like there's better plant characters you can invest in. Kanjiri in that C tier, situational again. She has poison, which is great, but I feel like she just needs the correct team, and that is with Satsuki and Changeling. And again, there's just better units out there for free-to-play accounts that have limited summons. Alright, B tier, this is for like the end of the line, like the 5, 6, 7, 8 characters that you need to build for 2 teams of 4. These are all good units. We have X, who can lower Moxie on an ultimate, can dispel stats up and positive status effects from the enemy, and can dispel counters. Really good control DPS dispeller unit. We also have Tenant, who is a very good support, can apply an AoE shield, which also reduces damage taken. Insight 3, when she gets below 50%, she will apply that same shield to all your allies. And after she attacks, she applies a reality defense down of 30%. Really good support unit for a reality-based damage team. Another good DPS support in the same tier, Necrologist. If you time your ultimate right, your allies can ignore death and get a heal if they are attacked. That is due to Necrologist's prayer skill. Can also dispel stats up and positive status buffs. If your prayer status gets dispelled, you get a heal from that as well. Next you have DK, who is free for everyone. Is a healer, isn't the best healer though. Genesis damage is huge on DK, with the ultimate and her power card as well. DK's heals really shine when your allies are below 50%. Now we're getting into BLANI in the B tier as well. She was who I was going to switch with Charlie. The reason I chose BLANI and B instead of Charlie is BLANI is way easier to get crits. She has an increased crit rate on her ultimate, she has an increased crit rate on one of her damage cards, and her passive after she uses an ultimate, she gains 20% more crit rate and crit damage. She gets a passive increase of 15% just by entering combat, and then if you Insight 3 her, she gets an extra 10% of crit and crit damage after her ultimate. Later down the line, when you're able to get a lot of crit way easier, then I think Charlie would trump her. Last in the B tier is HORORIA. Really good on a mental damage team. Can increase mental damage taken by 25% to all enemies. HORORIA does mental damage as well. Can dispel buffs. And on the other card, if the enemy doesn't have any buffs, he does more damage. And on an Insight 3, anytime you use a card level 2 or higher, you get damage dealt increased by 20%. We're down to the last 5, A tier. Balloon Party, your best 5-star healer. Does Genesis damage as well. Has a single target heal on the ultimate and has a card that has a heal as well. Plus her ultimate does Balloon of Innocence, which gives damage taken reduction and gives a heal and removes a stack of Balloon of Innocence. There's just a lot of healing going on, a lot of damage reduced. She will just keep your team up better than any other 5-star and below character. Baby Blue A tier. I have her at A tier. I almost thought about putting her at an S tier. For Baby Blue to be super good, you really want to run a mental damage team. And because of what the game gives you, which is more reality-based damage characters, I have her just at an A. But she can inflict nightmare to your enemies, which makes them not act at all. She can lower mental defense on one enemy, and she applies a debuff to all enemies, which is a damage reduction debuff and a damage taken debuff on all enemies. That's why she's at A tier and not S, because you need a mental team and you need to face a mental team for her to completely shine 100%. And this is why Click is on that A tier as well. Click is a good damage dealer, also can apply debuffs, and he is mental damage. Click has an AoE ult which also applies lens cap, which if you get attacked by reality damage, damage taken reduction 50%. He can also apply blind, which reduces the damage of the enemy, and on his card he can reduce Moxie. Every 2 rounds he gets lens cap himself, has a passive of damage taken reduced already, and when he adds lens cap he gets penetration rate, which penetration rate is underrated in my opinion. So if you have Baby Blue lowering that mental defense and then Click having a penetration rate of 30%, he's gonna hit hard. Alright, now the S tier, 2 units, the best for free to play in my opinion this early in the game. But I'm going to talk about Sonetta first. Now hear me out. Sonetta is by far the best free to play unit in the game. The game gives you 4 dupes of Sonetta already, and you get another dupe later on in about 6 to 8 weeks. She's a reality-based monster. She also has a disarm, which is huge in some areas. For example, Limbo 5 and the 2 garbage bags. Sometimes one of the garbage bags has 3 attacks. You can disarm that garbage bag and he does nothing, limiting huge damage on your team. But really it's this buff that she gives. She has an AoE buff that increases damage dealt and also decreases damage taken, also increasing penetration rate. This buff is extremely good. And I put her at S tier because the other S tier unit that a lot of people should strive for is also reality-based damage and works really well with Sonetta. And this is why Cornbloom or B-Cornbloom or whatever you want to born bloom, this is why she is S tier. Not only for the fact that she works well with Sonetta, she works well even by herself. Her ultimate is huge. It inflicts seal, which means the enemy cannot use an ultimate. If the enemy is immune to seal, it reduces Moxie. Once you get that 5th dupe of Corn Bloom, her ultimate does 800% damage. She also does 20% more damage if the enemy is in stats down or negative status. She also takes 20% less damage if the enemy has those debuffs as well. And lo and behold, which is why she's so good, she has a debuff that lowers reality defense, increases damage taken to those enemies. She is definitely by far the best 5-star unit in the game. As free to play, focus on 5 stars. Yes, 6 stars are shiny, and over time you will be using them after you dupe them up. You may even fill a 6-star unit in some of these teams with these units of 5-star. But focusing on the 6-star banners while prioritizing these 5-star units is gonna help you even more tremendously. And that's it for today's video. Just wanted to showcase my 5-star tier list so it helps you determine who you want to summon for. Again, this video right here talks about all upcoming banners and which banner to either save or summon for depending on your account. You end up liking this video, sub, like, ding ding bell. I'll see you in the next one.